when you see black people slipping down the tubes, you got to understand things have to get totally worse before there can be a change. And even that, it can knock black people into reality also. You understand? We see brothers out, and you see it every day. For some of you people that are just coming into consciousness, you got to have patience when you're coming into consciousness, because some of your own people are going to be the worst people that you're going to try to bring into consciousness. And this is the first thing that happened to me about 5 years ago. And what happened to me, I just want to say a bit of things, and I'm going to go into the lecture. I was an art major in college, and I also designed shoes and art, and so I got my college education in art. But I had a love for fashion and all of this thing at the time, you know, this insanity. I'll go into that later, but I designed shoes, and because I am a god, and all the black people are gods and goddesses, we could do anything we put our mind to. It's just that we got our mind in the wrong places. But anyway, I later on met up with a shoe agency in New York by the name of Roger Bowman Agency, and in 1988 I had come from Columbia and had gone to Clark for 2 years up here, before it was Clark Atlanta University. And I remember coming in '86, and I saw black people. The climate of Atlanta was doing good. You didn't have a job because you didn't want one. Everything, you know, black people, you know, the black bourgeoisie, BMW, and all of this. And then overnight, between '86 to '88, I saw a crack epidemic just automatically just burst out on the scene until right before I was going to New York to design shoes for this guy. I saw black men standing on the corners with the buckets and the squeegees trying to get money for crack money. And you have to be dead. Some people have a deep love for the people. I've always had that deep love. You have to be dead not to notice this and this not have an effect on you. And one night, I remember this good, I was coming back from a club, and I saw about 5 or 6 brothers on the street. It was about 3 o'clock in the morning. They were still out trying to squeegee cars. And I saw, you know, I just saw all this deplorable stuff going on in the projects that was right across the street in the AU Center. They had the Fair Street bottom. They have now cleaned it out and renovated it, and they put women and children back in it, but it's all right as far as projects go. But at this time, there was gunshots going on every night and different things. And I just made up in my mind, look, it's not about me and my personal gains. That's personal. And how much money I make, that's personal. But I have an obligation to somehow do something to help my people. Whether it be knowledge or whether it's going to a soup line, there's no particular right answer. And we have a lot of brothers and sisters arguing about, well, we need to be doing this, we need to be doing that. Anything you can do to help the liberation of black people, you need to be doing it in your grasp. And I saw this and I asked God, I said, listen, you need to give me the truth no matter how hard it hurts, you know, because there's got to be some things going on. And earlier I had seen Farrakhan and I was reading and different things like that, but you know, first you gotta be wary of the way people do things. A lot of brothers and sisters are reading, they got the African things on, and the suits, the Kenny cloth, and all this, and they know the knowledge, but they're doing it for one reason. They're doing it as a trophy for themselves. So when they get around white people in the corporate world and go to these functions, and the white man start talking about England and France, you see, they can say, oh, I'm a pharaoh, I was once a pharaoh, and it doesn't have anything to do with the liberation of black people, and it's a thin line between that. Some people are using this for a utility for their own personal gains, be political or economical gains. And I have seen brothers that's been in the struggle with me for the last 5 years just regress totally, because they found out that there wasn't no money in it, and they could not bridge the gap between making money in this capitalistic society, and also they couldn't bridge that gap also with being conscious and being patient, but still study as when you go through the hills of North America each day. So they just say, hey, you know, and then they would always make excuses about it. Well, hey, you call everything black insanity. Well, I think the brothers and sisters are sitting down talking all the time are insane, you know. And I went home to a funeral. I just buried one of my aunts, great aunts, was 94, so it was kind of happy funeral and all. I said, hey, you know, she's finally leaving hell, you know, she's going where she's supposed to go. But anyway, went to bury her, and I had a cousin, she just got out of the University of South Carolina, and she's like, yeah, well, I don't really need the knowledge, it's the brothers and sisters. And I said, no, you're the main one that needs the knowledge. And she said, what do you mean by that? I said, listen, let's take Atlanta. In the AU Center, you have the Fair Street Bottom, and you have a street called Lachey Street. And right next to it, you have a dormitory that is Raleigh Hall. It's the freshman dormitory. We just have that symbolic of a college graduate, a college dormitory, the undergrad grade. And let's look at this scale. Now, if you balance that scale out, the brother in the project he's given nothing, he has nothing, he's given nothing to work for, he has a brick wall because when you're given nothing, no role models, no education that's worth a damn, no upbringing, no whatever. And he turns out nothing, that's mathematically right. Nothing from nothing leaves nothing. But we know our brothers in the projects and sisters in the projects come up out of that spite those odds. See, that's the God in us, taking nothing and making something out of it. But what about the brother over here? You giving every doggone thing, and you can't even teach your brother over here how to make $1. You see, you can't teach him how to make $1. Only thing you have done was learn how to shield your pathology well. And this is the split between the brothers. How we all came off the plantation the same way. And then all of a sudden, a girl told me this one time, a girl that she was the SGA president over at Clark.